So hello everybody. It's Friday again. We're back. I'm in a really weird mood, so I apologize in advance.
Sometimes that happens.
It does. It does. And it's Friday, so we're good. So, Suzanne, what do you want to do the little opening spiel about us, or you want
Well, you're so much better at getting all the words in than I am.
all the words?
So I will chip in, but you're good with the mouthful. So why don't you have a little go at telling everybody who we are and what we're doing?
All right. Lots of people are joining us. Hi, Mike.
Yeah, hi everyone.
I can't read.
Don't forget to ask us your questions.
Yes, we're looking for writerly questions. And okay,
so if you are a writer or you're writing a book, tell us in the comments, writer in the comments, so we can say hi and get to connect with you. Okay. Do you want to do the little spiel then while people are chatting away and typing in?
My spiel is we are Blondie and the Brit. I am the Blondie and she is the Brit. We have a podcast on iTunes called Blondie and the Brit. And today we are talking about writing, how to do reviews to help authors. Suzanne's going to go into writing craft a little bit, and we're going to talk about blog tours and other promotions that we have done that either have been not so good or so good. Right now I'm running a blog tour with Lone Star Literary Life. And if you'd like to look at it, we're doing a giveaway over there, $25 Amazon card plus all of my books.
Nice.
If you're interested.
So as people are coming in and chatting to us, so we're both writers, as she was saying, and we're going to be talking about that's the promotional side of what we'll be talking about, but also about the writing life. So tell me, you guys, what is the most challenging if you are a writer, what is the most challenging thing about being a writer? Is it put one in the chat if it's actually getting to write, or two if it's not accepting, is being the inner critic? Which is the hardest, the inner critic or sitting down to write? I'd love to know, one or two. So one if it's just getting to write, or two if it's the inner critic.
Right. And for me, it's the fact that my kids just started summer break. So it's sitting down to write. My inner critic has been tamed. I've told her to shut up a while ago, so I don't have issues with that. But right now, it's the change in schedule. I don't have the house to myself. I've got they're actually not short, but my kids are home, and like just a lot of interruptions. So I've been very scattered and trying to gather my thoughts to sit down and focus enough to write. How about you? What have you been struggling with, Suzanne?
This week, it has been very scattered too. My energy has been it's been hard. It's just been and sometimes that's the truth, isn't it? When you're writing, you just have those hard weeks where you feel really scattered. And so you don't feel like you're doing very much. I was actually taking 5 scenes and rechanging them. And you know how that works. You pull out 5 scenes and it's kind of like doing an operation on a body. All the parts come out and then you've got to figure out how to put them all back in. And it's like, as you put them in, you're like, oh, that doesn't fit. I'm going to have to change that. And I'm going to have to change this. And I'm going to add this. And so it's been a little bit like doing that this week, has been trying to figure out where everything goes and put the book back together, which is always challenging. I'm not very keen on editing, I have to be honest with you. It's not my most favorite part of the process. By the time I get to this point in the edit, I've actually redrafted it at least 3 to 4 times. And so I'm kind of done with the story at that point. So what about you, KJ? Do you ever get done with points in the story when you're writing?
Yeah, actually, I'm in second draft right now, and it's so much fun because you're like, oh my God, I forgot all this was happening because it's been a while since I've been at the beginning of the book. And so I really enjoyed the second draft. Third draft is good. It's when you're going through the final drafts, 4, 5, 6, that it's just like such a chore to get through it. You're like, yeah, I'm sick of this story. There's no surprises anymore. The funny lines aren't funny, all of those things.
Exactly. Exactly.
Pull you into it. So that's what I struggle with. And usually there's some big deadline too, and so you're just like, I got 18 hours in a row of reading through this stupid book, so you really just get
totally understand how that feels.
Yeah, and then you need a whole mental help therapy week just to recover from all.
So what have you been working on this week? Have you been working on Blondie's Diner?
Yes, Blondie's Diner is my current work in progress. It's the first in a new series, so it's a whole new world, a lot of, world building I've already done in the first draft, but it's just fun for me to be in a different place. But I'm really excited about getting back into the fourth book of my other series. So part of me wants to just be like, bored with Blondie's Diner and go write the next book. But I have to fight that because then I'll have two not finished books. So I have to
Right.
get it all together and focus on one, get it done, get it off to a development editor, and then I can jump into the other book and start getting that figured out. I've already got about 70,000 words written on that other book. So it's really just tightening that down and then getting a B story finished and that kind of stuff. So
do you want to talk a little bit about what an A and a B story is, in case people don't know what that is, KJ?
sure, yeah. In my books, I have at least three viewpoint characters, and so the A story.
That means you're seeing the book from three different people's view, right?
Yeah,
Just so that what that
yeah.
means. But carry on.
So I write from one main character as most of the book. That's probably, I don't know, 60%, 50, 60, probably 60%. And then I have other viewpoint characters. So you pop into someone else's head for a chapter every so often. And so the A story is your main story, everything that happens through the crux of the book. And then you have B stories. Usually for me, it's the second characters, the third characters have their own storylines, their own goals, their own internal and external struggles. So that's the B story.
And how does the A character connect with the B character? Is there a particular way that you do that? Because I think that's important for people to know. In case you're just joining us, we're Blondie and the Brit. We're talking about writing, as we're both authors. Carry on, KJ.
Yeah, so for me, it depends on the book. So in Blondie's Diner, I have the main character is a lady that's just ended a relationship and she's moving to a new town and she's just trying to figure out what's going on. The B story is the guy who owns the diner, Blondie's Diner, but it's back in time. So there's two timelines.
So you have a little bit of a dual timeline going on there.
And they meet and then they cross and then you get to the end of the book and see how those two people are connected at all, if at all. So, I mean, obviously they are. I wouldn't have put a book.
So does the B character, like, is he part of the answer to the A character's question that you put up in the beginning? Does the A character come into it with a question and the B character answers that through his experience? How does that work?
Yeah, well, the A character finds a mystery, and the mystery is involving the B character. So,
okay,
I can't want to say Ronnie. It's not Ronnie. It's Nicole comes into the story, and this whole little town has had a big issue happen, and no one wants to talk about it. It's very sore subject. So she's kind of poking around trying to figure out what happened, how do we fix it, and as an outsider, a lot of people aren't too happy with that. The B story is what happened. So you have to go follow his path of where he started and how he, did all these things. So it's kind of fun. I haven't done a cozy mystery before. My books have very mysterious elements, but for me, it's a little bit of a new genre. So I'm still learning the pacing and like. Part of me wants to just tell them everything. Here's what happened, but you can't because it's a mystery. You've got to like build all that. So
you got to unwind it slowly.
Yeah.
What do you guys like to read? What's your favorite genre? I must admit, I kind of read across the board, but I'd love to know what other people like to read. What do you read for fun, KJ? What do you read mystery for fun? What's your favorite genre for fun?
Well, it depends. Like 2 weeks ago, my husband was out of town, and so I didn't read the scary stuff I normally read. I was like, I can't do that. I've been reading what do they call it? Unreliable characters has kind of been my thing this year, but I can only do one, and then I have to take a break.
So you mean unreliable narrative? Not you mean their narrative's unreliable? Yes, like Gone Girl.
Like Gone Girl, exactly.
Yeah,
a woman.
Yeah. So one of my followers wanted to know what was the name of the book again. So she hasn't finished it. She's in the process of finishing it. Do you want to talk about what it was called? What it's called, the series?
Blondie's Diner is the book series.
So give us a little synopsis because it's a cute little synopsis. Okay. The story.
Okay, so the premise of the story and the whole series is that there's a little diner in a small town in Virginia, coastal Virginia, and if you sit in the back booth of that diner, you will leave, if you're a stranger, you will leave your heart in the little town of Twisted Oaks. And so each book will start with someone sitting in the booth. And of course, at first, the first book, no one knows what that means. But, partway through the story, the waitresses are all talking and the whole restaurant hushes as the person sits in that booth and they're all like, oh, who's this new person? They're going to be living here. And so there's a debate of whether that's just a...
So there's a little bit of magical realism in it, obviously.
Yes. And it's not like there's a magic wand or anything, but it's more like there's...
Yeah.
Fate is pulling the strings of these various people to bring them together and weave their lives in. And then they, the issues that are going on in their lives get resolved because of sitting at Blondie's Diner. So
and it's actually going to be 3 books, right? So there's a thread line for 3 stories.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. She's actually plotting 3 books at the same time here.
Yeah. So the first book, you find out how did the booth get that way? How did the legend start? That whole thing. So, and it sets the premise. Then the other 2 books will be, the reader will know if they've read the first book that the second book, when the person sits in that booth, they're like, oh gosh, here we go.
Here we go again.
We know it's gonna, something's gonna. It's fairly fun. It's just a whole different place to be. I usually write time travel, historical fiction, thriller, very fast pace. And this is not, it's a different pacing. It has definitely softer tones. It doesn't have as much, violence and big weather problems and,
In fact, her books are right behind her on her wall there. Stealing Time and Shattering Time, and she has lots of things with time. Killing Time.
Killing Time, yes. Killing Time is my latest. You see this.
She said it sounds very good. You mean Blondie's Diner sounds really good? Oh, this is her latest that she just
This is the one. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Thank you. I'm excited. That makes me want to go finish writing the darn thing. Maybe I'll stick with it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I've actually read the first, I think, 10 chapters or 5 chapters, something I've read, and loved it. I couldn't wait for her to finish.
Yes.
Blondie's Diner sounds great, she says.
Oh, good.
Cool.
So much.
Yeah.
Hey,
do you like mystery? Do you like the lady who's in there? Her name is Junk Journal.
Ooh.
Jubilance, I think that's what it is. So yeah, do you like mystery? What books do you like to read? So I write historical fiction, and I also write something similar to you, but it's more humor. It's like small town humor, around the Rejected Writers Book Club, which I think I've got somewhere, but not up behind me.
Great. One thing that Suzanne is really, really good at is character.
So Rejected Writers Book Club is small town humor, funny. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I write. That's a series as well. So yeah,
cool.
And fun. I liked writing small town. It was really, because I'm from a small town, and so if you're from a small town, you notice everything in it, and you go, "Yep, been there, done that." Like I think I have a line in it where it says, somebody sneezes on 2nd Street and someone from 1st Street runs around with a tissue. And that's small town, they just the way it is.
Yeah, I love it. So Suzanne, what are you reading right now? A certain book? What do you read for fun?
Sorry?
What do you read for fun reading?
Right, gosh, I'm reading all over the board right now because I find I'm always learning something new from every reader. But right now I am reading a lot of YA, which isn't normally my YA, and also mid-grade novels.
What?
YA.
That's surprising.
I know, I love it. It's so fun to read something, because you just get a whole different. What I like about mid-grade novels, is that what they're called? Grade school. Is there's going to be nothing scary or frightening. It's going to just be it's just pure storytelling.
Yeah.
So it's actually really fun to enter into that side of yourself from being young. But YA is really fun. I'm actually reading a book now, which is actually really good. I think it's called The Love Hypothesis. I think that's what it's called, and it's really good. I can see why it's been so popular on BookTok. I saw it on BookTok, and so I thought, gosh, what is this? So I thought I'd try it, and I really liked it. It's definitely YA. It's definitely, it's just fun. It has a little like Pride and Prejudice feel to me, but like modern day.
Yeah.
It's kind of standoffish guy, girl. I don't know. It works really nicely. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, but I've been read YA. I don't read a lot of World War II, which is really interesting because that's what I write.
Why would that be?
But it's like I think that's because I'm in it all day at work, like when I'm writing, and so the last thing I want to do when I relax at night is being in another, in another bombing campaign. Because often I'll be thinking, oh, I don't think this is right. I don't think they got it. And so you don't want to be in that place. You don't want to be thinking or judging, or you just want to relax and whatever. So
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely. That's interesting.
thank you for sending us likes. Thank you.
Thank you. And if
Have you got any questions your end, KJ? I know you're are you on your phone there?
I'm on my phone there, but there are no questions. And we would love your questions, you guys.
Yes, please give us questions.
Tell us what you're reading. Maybe if you're a writer, what you're writing. I would love to know.
Mm-hmm.
Very interested in supporting. We've had a couple authors that show up on our feed, and we'd love to talk about their books and what they've got going on. So if you're an author,
We do this because we want to encourage authors. We we don't need to talk to ourselves for an hour. We can do that without being on a live. But what we like to try and do is encourage people. Be out there if you are writing, or even if you read it, you'd like to read and you're not reading very much. We want to try and encourage you to do that. She said, I haven't been reading much lately. It's sometimes you can get out of that habit, can't you? Yeah. It's like, and also I find that if I go through a dry spell where I'm not really enjoying what I'm reading, I hate that when you you start 5 different books and none of them are really working for you. Yeah. Or there's nothing out there that I'm really liking the look of. I'm particular about what I like. So I get excited when I get a bunch in, throw them into, I read from the library all the time because I love to use my library service. And I love it when there's a bunch in and I can just go save them and get back to them. It's so fun,
Yeah. I usually don't put a book down. Like if I get one, I want to stick with it. But I had to return one to the library the other day. It was just, I don't know. It seemed like she was trying to cram too much. I don't know. It just seemed like she was trying too hard to fit a certain agenda into her book, and it was too forced.
But you learn something from it. That's what I'm always about too. It's like if you don't enjoy it, I'll often step back and go, "What am I learning from this writing?" Because you're always learning something as a writer and a reader, don't you think? So you felt like the genre was too biased, or
like this genre. I don't want to get too much into it, but it turned out to be like, I could say it in a few words, but I don't know what our audience is. I don't want to but what it ended up being was that I felt like she was trying so hard to be politically correct that she had to put all these little pieces in each chapter instead of just letting the story develop. Like, well, she had to have this kind of person.
So it was too preachy.
Yeah, it just felt very forced and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm fine with a message throughout and you want to teach us about whatever. It was like every issue she had to have okay, this chapter, and it had nothing to do with the story. I don't know. I just felt like it was way too.
Yeah, no, I don't like anything too preachy either because it feels like they have another agenda and you're not really interested. You're just there to relax and enjoy the story.
Yeah,
so I totally hear you on that.
Story, and then the character was just kind of like a miserable person, and you just felt bad for her. And I was just like, I want to escape. I'm a deal.
Maybe the writer is in that place. God bless her.
Yeah,
she's like, I'm miserable. And I got agendas are not happening in my life. So here's another one in chapter 4.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think it's really important when you are plotting. If I like to have a theme within my story themes. Something like I always try to have. I don't know if I always pull it off. The B story character help the A story find out the personal journey they're on. So I have the A story. The A character is on this journey, and she has something inner conflict going on. And I like it. My favorite is when I can get my B character to talk into that A story's conflict. So for example, in the last book that I just wrote, Garden of Secrets.
Yes, show this one. Beautiful cover.
I got my little shelf. It's good. In Garden of Secrets, one girl comes into that story, my protagonist, with this huge secret from her past, and she feels incredibly guilty about it. And it stops her living her life fully because of the guilt that she feels. And so what happens is it's a mystery in the fact that it's a puzzle piece mystery. She finds a key in a garden and a note, and she starts to follow it, and it's about, it goes all the way back to the 1940s, and then she wants to trace it. Basically, she finds out it's a message left between two people, and she tries to find these people by tracking down and following the clues, which is kind of a fun thing. Always fun to write.
And you have dual timeline too, isn't that like
dual timelines? Yeah, dual timelines. And when she does find it, this or tracks down the story, that story, it talks into her own guilt. It's like it's the reason she's on that journey, even though she doesn't realize it at the time. That the B story helps her come to terms with her own guilt in her own life. So, and I love when I can do that, because I feel like that is so serendipitous of life. How often are we on a journey and we're trying to figure something out, and then it's just, an aha moment here, or something happens and it completely changes how you think about the world and sets you free. So it's kind of like I wanted to have a little kind of experience there. So it's not very preachy, but it definitely speaks into the feelings of guilt. I love to talk about people's inner conflict and have them solved through the story. And I've waffled on enough. You know what I mean? Kind of like, but yeah, that kind of thing.
And Suzanne, since you are you're one of the best writers I know about developing character.
Oh, thank you.
Here, you have a whole worksheet that you work on. Can you just give the viewers a little input into how you develop these characters? You put a lot of time into making.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
really well before you start writing.
Well, you know what? When you first start writing, people give you these character sheets which say things like, hair color, eye color, height, which is all kind of important when you're writing, because you don't want to. I'm always forgetting people's eye color, so it's because you got a blonde here and a brunette there, and you got a dark, trying to remember all that. But what I realized was it didn't really speak to the person. So the character chart that I have, I followed from a screenwriting class I did. And this basically says things like what the character portrays to the world, how the world sees this character, how this character sees themselves, which is two very different questions. Someone can look very, very, confident and outward in the world, but can be totally, shut down inside, feel they're not worthy, imposter syndrome, whatever it is. And so a lot of my character sheet is actually getting to, outer conflict, inner conflict. What is it? What is one thing that is like a tick in them, like something that they do when they're nervous, or just different things that makes people more real to me.
Yeah.
And how are they in a relationship? How are they out of a relationship? And just trying to make a more rounded character rather than somebody who is really two-dimensional.
Right.
And I hate reading characters that feel very like they don't have a personality. I just read a really great book, but all the characters in it were a little similar, which was kind of, I won't tell you the name of the book, but it was basically kind of had a Jane Austen theme to it. But the wonderful thing about Jane Austen is all of her characters are so unique and different. Like, she was really good at character. That's what she did really well.
Yeah.
And so when this person, I wouldn't even attempt to write anything Jane Austen style, because she is so good at that, and you're up against the champ there. And what happened was, this person's book, all the characters became a little insipid. They all became very similar, and it's because she was trying to write in that style but hadn't really cracked how to create those characters. So I think it's really important to make every character very different.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's great, and that's great advice. Is there any resources you can point people towards to find character development worksheets or anything like that?
I'm trying to think of anything right now. I can't think of anything that I can think of. Have you got anything that you do with Evan Marshall? Does he talk about character development?
He does have character sheets. In there, it's a book called The Marshall Plan by Evan Marshall.
Oh yeah.
The Marshall Plan for, someone has a question. Why is so many romances have Mr. Darcy? Because Jane killed it.
Because he's just, what it is? It's something about that aloof, good-looking man that you kind of know that you want to find out why he is. I don't know. But I agree.
Yeah.
There is a lot. Mr. Darcy is very, very popular.
Yes, and a lot of people base.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to read the name. My thing is too small. J Wedge Originals or something. I'm sorry. I'm about butchering. I have a phone with a little tiny. Uh, but yes, thank you for your question. That's a good question too. I do feel like there's so many books that I read where they have some reference to a Jane Austen, either a character or her books or her. There's a whole book I was reading called Jane Austen Society, where they put together a whole like the home. It was something about the her original house, and they were trying to restore it and put it up for tours and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I like the Jane Austen Society. That was a pretty good one.
yeah,
But that was but that wasn't basing it on Jane Austen's characters. I mean, these were new people, so that's why I think that worked really well.
right. But I'm saying that there's such an influence in fiction now from
Mm-hmm.
so long ago that like people really they decide and they decide to pull those pieces into the books as they're writing them because it was such an influence on their writing. She says it's okay. Let's see if I can get in real close. JC Wedge Originals. Did I get it close? Like point at the camera. I'm like, oh.
I know you get like 2 inches from it, but yeah, I agree. There's a lot of gems, but I never really get enough of it. I love it, and I think now that Bridgerton is out and everyone's really into Bridgerton, it has that similar feel, that kind of like Regency feel all over again.
Wade Originals. Oh, I'm very sorry. Wade Originals. Me and my old eyes. I'm sorry. Wade Originals. Ooh, what do you do? Tell us what you do, Wade Originals. JC Wade Originals.
He has originals of something.
Yeah. I want to know. Is it art or books or tell us. Tell us. Okay, Suzanne, tell us what you're writing this week. She's an author and an artist. Ooh, I love it.
Lovely.
Love
Let me think. Oh, I'm still working. Well, actually, it's due on Monday.
I like
My book is due back at the publisher on Monday, or maybe it's Tuesday. I'm hoping it's Tuesday, because, like I said, I took all my book out, put it on the operating table, and now I'm trying to make it all fit back together, and that isn't working real well yet because I keep finding bits that I have to change. Well, I actually moved scenes. I hate doing that. When you move scenes up or move scenes down, and of course, then you have a bunch of yeah. Is that a question?
she writes historical fiction.
Same as me.
Yeah, similar. And well,
What kind of historical fiction?
my daughter's in art school right now. She's at the university studying art, and she loves oil paint. So I feel you, and then we're both writers, so we have a lot in common. Yeah, tell us the name of your books, or are you a new writer and you're just kind of figuring things out? Give us the scoop. And do I call you JC? And I can't tell by the picture; it's too small. Maybe you're a dude. You're a female. That's cute. Besties. Yes, I guess we need to be besties now that we have so much in common. Thank you for joining us. Word Wolf just joined. Hello. Female. Okay, I'm sorry. It's hard to tell. The picture's like.
I know. I've got them over here too. But you just joined. We are Blondie and the Brit. We are both writers. Every Friday we go live at this time to talk about writing and the process and how our week's been. And we'd love you to come and join us whenever you can. Talk about writing. Talk about what you've been doing, what projects you're working on, what you're reading, anything fun.
Yeah, so JC, tell us, are you a new author or you have some books out? Let's put up one of your titles so that we can tell the world what you're doing. Also, if you're watching this live, we put these up, the full episodes, part of them 10 minutes on TikTok, and then we have the rest up on YouTube. So if you're coming in late, you can see the full episode. We've been doing this every week for what? Every week for about a month, Suzanne. So we have
about a month we've been doing that.
Yeah.
And so, I am Suz Kalman, SUZKELMAN on YouTube, same as I am on here. So if you are following me here, I'm the same on YouTube. And are you the same on YouTube too, KJ?
Yeah, well, KJ Waters here, KJ Waters 227, and KJ Waters. Oh, she says she's a new author. One published, one soon to be published with editor. Oh, nice. The title is The White Witch's Daughter. Oh, that sounds amazing.
That sounds really cool.
That is a great title. Is that the current one that's out in the world, or is that the one that you're working on? And is it a sequel? I need to know. He says, thanks. Yes. Author. Well, you're
In fact, you had a little witchcraft in book 1, didn't you,
well,
KJ? Well,
yeah.
I won't go into what was going on there, but there was a hint at witchcraft in Stealing Time.
I'm stealing time. This is my book's
Yeah,
time. She's accused of being a witch. Oh my light. She's accused of being
yeah,
because she's a modern woman that got sent back in time, and so,
yeah,
but she has to go through the whole witch trial process, which is not very fun. If you drowned, you weren't a witch. You know, things like that.
yeah.
All right, she says
Wow.
currently available, and that's the White Witch's Daughter. Her second book is the sequel. Good, so you're doing a series. Ooh, I hope the second book goes well for you.
Now, are you traditionally published or are you indie? We are KJ is indie. I'm a hybrid, and we're always interested to know which route you went.
And she says I'm adding it to my list. Time travel is her favorite. Oh, good. We're gonna be.
Oh yeah, you'll love Stealing Time.
We will be besties for sure. You can win Stealing Time. I have a Goodreads giveaway right now, and I also have a giveaway with Lone Star Literary Life. If you Google them, I'm on blog tour with them right now. I'm giving away all 3 of my books and then some of my short stories.
So maybe you want to also, for the lady who's there, who you were just talking to, do you want to talk a little bit about blog tours? I don't know if she knows about them or whether you want to talk. We were going to talk a bit about what a blog tour is and how that works a little bit, if anyone's interested in knowing how to be part of that.
Sure. First, she says second book is going to be indie. You're hybrid. So does that mean that your first book was traditionally published, and so now you're bumping into the whole world of indie publishing? I love it. That's really brave.
Yeah, good for you.
Good. She's looking it up now. Thank you.
Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely follow you back, JC. First book is wide. Yes. Okay, so she's all over. When you say that you're wide, that means that you're on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Kobo and iTunes and all the places that you can buy books. So that's great. Good. Well, I'm gonna look you up. I'll follow you back, and your first book sounds great. I'm gonna go check it out too. Thanks for sharing it. So JC, since I have you on here, what are your challenges for promoting your books? Now that you're going to be indie, it's probably going to be all on your head. So let us know
Yeah.
that you have. I'll talk for a second about the blog tour that I'm doing, and then Suzanne, you've done some too. I have not done a blog tour before, except for my own. I made my own up, but that was different. Because a lot of people there's a company that I've used to promote my books called Authors XP, Authors Cross Promotion, authorsxp.com. Her name is Amy Van Sant, and she has some great promotional $10 you can promote your book as either just a new release or whatever. And she's got a bunch of other services for authors that are amazing. She did a book tour, and I asked her, I said, oh my gosh, who are these people? And she's like, don't ever use them. They're not good. She was
Oh wow.
for a platform too that would give you sales. What she said she found out, and this is what I found out looking around too, is that there's a lot of blog tours out there that it's like one person with a couple friends, and those are the only people that like the blogs. So they've got like 5 blogs, and they're all like this.
Oh wow. So do you have to pay for that?
Sure, you pay for that, and there's no wide audience. They're like several accounts that are clicking the same thing. It's like 1 or 2 people that are like, liking and
Wow.
so you're not
much being scammed.
big audience. What you want is someone who's got a really established audience.
So a blog tour, just for people who don't know what that is, it's basically when you launch your book, you want to get it out to the widest range as possible. And of course, what really goes for an author is reviews. We want reviews because, as you know, when you go to Amazon, if you see a book without a review, you're very skeptical about buying it. You want to be able to go and look through and read even bad and good reviews. You want to be able to see what it's about. And so one of the ways you get that and you get some hype behind your book is you go out to people that blog who actually have, book bloggers. These are people who have a blog about books. They read your book and they review it, which is great. And if they're good, they'll put it on Goodreads, they'll put it on Amazon, they'll put it all over for you, which is great because then Your reviews are going out. They're legitimate reviews. This isn't your mom and your sister. This is real people who are reading your books and are putting it out there. And so they're very, very valuable to authors if they work right. Right, KJ?
They have an audience. Now, the reviews are good.
Yeah.
They don't work right if you're just trying to gather reviews, but 1 or 2 reviews is not going to help you sell your book. But the audience that are connected to the various blogs, like the one with Lone Star Lit, they have done an amazing job. They have.
So tell us the difference with Lone Star. Tell me how that went.
Yeah, well, it's right in the middle of it. But what they've done is they have a whole bunch of book bloggers, and they've been using the same folks. And so she'll put out, here's the people that have signed up, and she'll put out, here's what the book's about, and people can decide if they want to join. She's got enough people that different genres and different various ideas that they want. Oh yeah, there's Suzanne's book.
Sorry, somebody was just asking about the Rejected Writers Book Club. There's 3 in the series. This is the first one.
Great book.
Thank you. I hope you let me know if you read it. I'd love to know if you enjoy it.
Yeah. But
sorry, carry on, KJ. No, I am listening.
Because we want to make sure we answer. And JC said marketing is rough, and I'm with you there 100%. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, have a plan. One thing you have to, I think is really important is so often people are panicking about getting a launch and having everything happen in that first week, and you've got so much to think about. For me, I'm finding more and more that most of my work now is happening after launch. You know, once that book is out. I mean, literally, I just had a book went out in October. It did okay. It did pretty well. It got into the top 100. It did great on its, got to a 4.6. It was doing great. And then it kind of just, went away. And then we did I think it was a book bub or something like that. It was a big one. And it literally, of course, it went all the way up to number 1 in its category. It was, top 10 in 3 different countries. And then it slowly came down, and it's been popular ever since. Now, this was October, the book was published. This happened like last month. So it just shows that, I think before, that was the old mentality. You've got to get out, get it, get it into bookstores, get it here, get it there. But actually, in the world that we live in now, you can actually do that anytime you want to do and have the success that you want. So that book is still doing really well. I mean, for over the last month. And it's not dropped out of sight. It's still staying pretty high and going up and coming down a little bit and going up. So here's the advice. Don't panic. Don't panic about getting that all right at the beginning. Just have something ongoing all the time if you can. Particularly if you're on your second book, which is a little challenging because and particularly if your first book was traditionally published, it means you don't really have control of when that goes on sale. Because one of the best ways, right, KJ, is for that second book is to put the first book on sale so that people, particularly if it's a series, will buy that first book on sale and want to read the second book at full price. And that's a way to make money. Challenging when you don't own the rights to that first book. I totally agree.
Yeah. So. Suzanne, talk for a second, too, about, I think we both noticed this when you have one book out and then you have 2 books out. The second book is really hard. It's when you get 3rd, 4th, 5th books, the more books you have.
Yeah. Second book is hard.
Build. So give her a pep talk on that so she can.
Yeah, and I know this is hard to hear because it's so hard. You're writing that second book and you're like, oh, it's so hard. Like, how many books have I got to write to make this successful? But it is. But the reality is that every book you put out there, it gets easier and easier and easier to sell anything behind. When we did this, you did this, KJ, I did this. We spent hours promoting that first and second book, days and days and hours. And what you realize very quickly is if you keep writing, that they promote themselves. Like what people want is lots of variety. They want to be able to go, oh, I love this author. Then they buy 4 of your books. And so it really is, as much as it's hard to hear, the more you can have out in the world. This is my personal view. I've seen it with mine. I've got 9. I'm about my 9th one in November, I think, is being published. And now it's so easy because here's the other thing. You can always have a book on sale. You've got 8 books out. There's always, one book can be a book bub, one can be at 99 cents, one can be going wide, one can be on Kindle, unlimited. And then they're all selling for you. So the best thing to do, instead of it being 1 versus 1, like you with one book trying to sell one book, you want to be 1 versus 8. So 1 versus 8 books all selling books for you. And another thing to do when you come to put that book out, that second book, make sure that in the back of that book, you have a link to your first book, because you want people to quickly be able to go to that. And in the third book, same thing. You want to be people to start moving through that series. So make sure that in that last book you put links. Now you do that with your book too, don't you, KJ? You do that with your series.
Oh yeah. And JC says you guys are the best. So
we try and help. I mean, sometimes every time I say something, then I'll see someone on TikTok that says the opposite. I'm like, so we're just doing what we've worked out. That's all, and we want to support and help in every way we can. So I'm sorry, KJ. That's lovely. Thank you so much. We're glad you came today to chat to us.
Me too. I can't wait to go look at your book. I'm excited now. That might be my next read.
Yeah.
Who says I've heard of a marathon, not a sprint, but it's
right.
It's hard to be patient. Yeah, I know. And I hear Suzanne saying, you need 8 books. I'm thinking, yeah, I'll just pop out 8 books. No big deal. You're on book 2 and you're like, nah, it's going to be a while before I get all that done. But
I know.
The one piece of advice that's connected to that is I've known several authors that wrote one book and they marketed, and they didn't write the second book. So like your plans need to be, maybe even pause some of your marketing. Like I would say social media, so people know about your brand and they know what you're doing, but get to that second book. Don't wait, because your momentum from the first book leads to the second. And then when you put the third, you're bringing both along, and then you get the fourth and people go buy the whole thing. So even if they're not in a series, like Suzanne has books that are all separate, except for the Rejected Writer is a
Rejected Writers. Yeah.
But the rest of them are in the same genre. So they're similar. And so you get that reader that just loves it.
Well, if you go look on Amazon at my covers, they're all, because obviously my publishers has made them I'm a brand, but they all look very, very similar. They're using the same font, the same everything, I mean, obviously they're different books, and so I think even though they're not in a series, because they're about the same period in time in history, people do tend to go and buy them. Sure. All the time.
Yeah.
So all different ones are selling at different times. So
exactly. It's like,
but I will say to that girl who's putting out her book, one thing I would say is look at going wide. And I know you're already wide with first one, but I mean like audiobooks, even a novella, anything you can do to make that more sellable is the best thing you can do. Audible right now, everything my publisher is saying to me is it's doing really, really well, as far as like there is a big market for Audible books. And I know it's expensive, and you're looking at that right now, aren't you, KJ, with your book?
Yeah. Actually, we talked about last week, I had a narrator come to me and said, hey, I would love to do your books. And so I was like, And we're talking about doing
Thank you for the likes, guys. Sorry, carry on.
That's right. We're doing a royalty share. I haven't set it up or signed the papers or whatever, but it was very intriguing to do a royalty share where I don't pay out any money. We just share whatever money comes in. So you have a whole nother person that's like on your marketing team. Yes, give us likes. If you're here. JC, thank you for your likes. But yeah, so that's really important. And I don't know, I think people get stuck in a certain genre. Like I'm sure people that like the World War II fiction, they pick up one of your books, they're going to read all of yours if they enjoyed it, which they all do. She has great reviews. And so that's important to make sure that when you're doing your branding for your covers and the blurbs, that you are still speaking to that same audience. You want your covers to look similar enough, the color schemes, the fonts, the way your author name is on the cover, all that stuff is really.
So the girl what's her name? JC, was that her name? The
girl
that you're talking to? Mm-hmm. JC, so have you looked at covers yet? Are you even looking at that yet? Or are you just in the midst of just getting that second book out there?
She says, I have to run, but you ladies are very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, JC.
Okay, well, good. We hope that goes well for you.
Yeah, I'm going to look her up. Her book sounds great.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
So if you just join us with Blondie and the Brit, we every Friday we go live to talk about books. We're both authors. If you are a writer, feel free to tell us about that in the chat and ask us questions. I'm traditionally published and indie published, so I'm a hybrid. KJ is completely indie published. So between us, we maybe have a brain cell that we can help. So I want to start reading again. Yeah. What stopped you? What actually stopped you reading? Is it just life coming in? Or what other things are going on that have stopped you, got you out of that habit? You know, one of the things I do, and it might help, is I actually don't read anymore. I listen to all my books because I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to look into your guys' books. Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate that. And we don't do this for that, but thank you anyway. We really appreciate you looking at our books. We do this because we want to support the author and reading community. So, but that's very sweet of you.
Who you talking
Yeah.
Dan? What's her name?
Oh, this is Junk Journal. I don't want to say
Oh,
Jubilance. She's on over here, my junk journal girl.
you're,
We must be junk journalists, but I love junk journalists. You know, I put a lot of junk journal stuff up. I'm not very good at putting my books up. I must admit I should do that more, but I'm having so much fun with my journals right now. I'm sharing that with the
are you
world.
selling your junk journals?
No, I'm doing it for fun. You know, but I love it. I really enjoy it. So it's like I've been so busy with the last book, and my life has been so heavy. It has been what I've wanted to do. Lack of concentration. It has to be a good book. Yeah, sometimes I get it. I know that, like I said, that's why I've started listening, because I don't have a lot. Well, partly I spent all my life in a book, like writing a book, and that can be challenging to read a book as well. I don't know. How do you read? Oh, my name is Susie. Hi, I'm Suzanne. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Susie. Do you How do you read your books? How do you get past that not being able to concentrate thing, KJ?
Well, I
What
did
do you do?
started doing audiobooks because I'm in my computer all day long, and by the end of the day, first of all, I don't just sit down, and if I do, I'm usually pretty tired. So reading, and I have kids and I have people around me, so it's not like I can just quietly read. But what I do, because I really wanted to increase the number of books that I've read, I feel like that really helps you as an author, just creative ways to
It does.
things and how did they develop stuff, what you didn't like. There's so much you learn from every book that you read, whether you realize it or not. It's soaking into
Right.
your brain. So I got Libby, which is the app on my phone,
That's what I use.
audiobooks.
Do you know about Libby, Susie? Libby is a library app, and you can actually download ebooks, and you can download Audible books for free. So I don't know if you know about that, but it's a great. I love it. I listen to it. I use Libby all the time. Libby, I think it is, right?
iTunes store.
Lib.
But that's so what I do
Yes,
read is I have an audiobook and then I exercise. So like in the mornings I wake up and I go for a walk, and it's like I can't listen to my book unless I'm either like doing something boring like laundry, cleaning the house, or walking. And so it's kind of a distraction from, I've got to do all these things anyway. So to have a story going, I just don't have time to sit and read, and my eyes are tired by the end of the day. So,
that's the same as me. Yeah.
and I was on.
In fact, that's right. In fact, that's the first. We would both do that first thing in the morning. We don't even read our edits. We listen to the chapter from the day before or the chapter we're working on, so I can hear it, because then I can hear the edits, and it has. Yes, Libby, Libby. Go check it out. It might help.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help get you back into it, because then you haven't got to pay for it as well.
Yeah.
And you can try out a few books, try different ways. And I love the audiobooks. I mean, they have brand new Audible books. And even with the library, if they don't have the book that you want, you can even put a request in for it, and they may even go and buy it for you. I've had that happen to me before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, try that out. Let us know how that goes, Susie. Let us know if that works for you. Because I know and you know what? Reading is such an incredible thing if you can do it. I love being like lost in a world, that's not my own, that I'm not having to create. It's really fun. So yeah, definitely try that and let us know if it works.
Yeah, and I have to say, if you haven't done audiobooks before, give your mind a chance to get used to it, because there's a little different kind of focus that you have as you're looking.
Or fold towels, do laundry. I mean, I always do something laborious. Like that's how I clean my kitchen. That's how I empty my dishwasher.
Yes.
That's how I find my laundry. And then you look forward to, like, oh, I'm halfway through that book. And I have a different book on Libby to the one I'm listening to in life. And I'll be folding my laundry and listening to a book. And it's the way I get things done in the house, It's like listening to books on time on Libby.
Yeah, I walked this morning and my book was so good that I ended up walking 3.4 miles. I was like, yeah,
See, look how cool that is. It made you fit.
exercise. There, of course, I wasn't as productive on my own writing because I was too busy soaked into this book. But I do feel like,
But you got more exercise. She was saying, yeah, cleaning and listening, convenient. Try it. Go to Libby. Go find something pretty simple. Some people, I don't know if you're ADHD or if you have challenges in that way. Sometimes people that way find it hard to to just concentrate. And I actually, so if you have an issue like that where you have trouble focusing in with audibly, I tell one thing that helps is pick like a classical book that is really old and like long, like Middlemarch or something, that's like 20 hours long, because then you can have it, you can be listening to it, and if you like phase out for like half an hour, it won't matter, because by the time you get back they've only just finished dinner, so you're good.
That's funny.
And it helps you just kind of, I don't know, I love it now. I always listen to something while I'm doing stuff all the time.
Yeah, me too. And I'm
nice with the walking. Yeah, try it. It's great. I always walk and listen all the time. It's great.
If you've got a good book, it makes you exercise more. So I listen to it at the gym. I have a lot of time in the books, but it does take a little bit. Like, it took me a while. I hadn't listened to them in a long time, and it took me a while to just kind of get your mind used to listening. Like, give yourself a chance. Don't give it up too quickly. It's kind of like a little bit of a training that you focus, and I think you'd like it, and it's free. You get to go through all those books for free.
I know, I love that. And you're supporting the library service. That I don't know if people know this, but the authors do get money when you borrow those books. So every time you borrow the book, it's not like you're not giving them money. They still get money.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, none of my books are in Libby. My publisher doesn't do that. But anytime I see one, I'm so excited because I'm like, I get to do it for free. Somebody gets paid for that. That makes me happy.
And I get entertained for free. It's not a lot of free.
Exactly.
You got to pay for
exactly
all the streaming services that we have.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Audible's good too. I was on Audible for a while, and they give you credit.
I was too.
I mean, it just ends up being it's about $130 a year.
It's a lot.
So you have a lot more choices. Like, you don't have to wait for a hold, and library, you've got to return it after a certain number of days or whatever. So if you've got the money, Audible is really good. But Suzanne, what book are you reading right now? Do you know the name of it?
I think I told you it's called The Love Hypothesis. It's YA, like I said, Mr. Darcy-ish, young not medical. They are in. I should find the. It's a great book. I'm really enjoying it. I had a little stilt of starting books and not finishing them. Yeah. And I never ever give. To be fair, I never ever give a 1-star review ever, because I know how that can take an author's. I don't know if people know this, but if you put, even though I know you want to maybe share that, but if you put in a 1-star review, you take the authors all their whole numbers down. And I would never give a 1-star review for maybe isn't mine. Maybe it's too. I'm not really into a lot of porn. Like, I don't. If it's very, very sexual, I'll stop reading it, only because it's not my thing. But that doesn't mean it isn't somebody else's thing. And so I never ever do a 1-star ever, because I always feel that I don't want to take their overall numbers all the way down. I just don't give a review. And so yeah, I want to see if I can. You carry on chatting, I'll find it.
I was just saying that sometimes it's just not your genre, and it's not fair to the author because there's a book that wasn't in your genre. And that's one of the things that we were talking about today too, is like reviews. They're so important for you to get reviews on your book so that you get pushed up in the Amazon logarithm, that people that are looking at your book, they realize what's good and bad about it. It helps them decide if they are one of your target readers.
Right.
Really important to
the Love Hypothesis, and it is by Ali Hazelwood, but it's definitely YA. But it's great. It's really fun. They're in university. It's set in a university, I think. I know it's Cambridge or not. No, it's set in America, so it'll be the American one of those. So it's one of those Ivy League,
new adult book. That's the 20.
Yeah,
new adult. So you're
20-something.
Yeah. I'm reading a book called The Woman in Cabin 10, and they're on a very small cruise ship, and people are disappearing. It's really good.
Oh my gosh, that sounds really cool. I'd
Yeah.
like that. Is it mystery or is it thriller?
It's unreliable narrator, like cozy mystery kind of thing that
You do love that. I like unreliable narrative
yeah,
to narrate.
gone through a whole series of those. I think we need to end those soon because we're just about at an hour. Do you want to wrap?
Wow, already we're already going. So yeah, so we hope you enjoyed us rambling on for an hour. It was kind of fun though, talking. We went all over the place, which is
Yeah,
always fun. And Susie, I hope you enjoy. Let us know if you try Libby and if that works for you. Maybe you could fold some laundry or go for a walk. We'd love to hear how you get on. And it's lovely talking to you. Even if you didn't comment, we're glad you came and joined us every Friday, 12 o'clock Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're here every week to chat to you and
talk book.
and answer your questions, hopefully.
Yep, sounds good. We'll see y'all next week. And if you're just catching the end of this, we will have this up on YouTube on SUZKELMAN, Suze Kelman, and KJ Waters. We'll also post 10 minutes of this on our TikTok feeds. And go find Blondie and the Brit on iTunes or Podbean. We have 93 episodes up
of our podcast. That's right.
Previous podcast. So
yeah, you're so welcome, Susie. Have a lovely afternoon.
Have a great.
Okay, so take care. See you next week, Cage.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.